That's the theme. Don't start a business without me. And call. I know we had a couple of calls, and I don't know, there's some technology issues. I think we've got them solved. 298-5487. I'm here with the computer expert in this entire Santa Clarita Valley. He owns a company called Adage IT. A disclaimer, I use their company because they're very good at what they do. And so, Jeremy, before we get any calls, if we do get any calls at, what's the number? 298-5487, 298-5487, the 661. So I was talking about timing. Timing is everything in life. It's also everything in business. And if you don't understand timing, we have a call? Okay, go ahead, caller.
Hi. Yes, I have a couple questions, if I may ask, please.
Sure, go ahead, ma'am. What's your name?
My name is Ellen.
Ellen? That's your name. That's my wife's name.
I know. I've heard you on the other show, and so I thought.
Okay? Welcome. I didn't think there was any other Ellens left in America. So
no,
good.
No,
all right.
No.
Well, I'm glad you're listening. I'm honored that you're listening. Actually. So, what's your question, my dear?
Okay. My first question is, are there a lot of companies do you see now that are starting online companies more than they are physical companies, say at a building or something like that? I mean, is that more popular now than and does that bring you into developing more computer websites and things for them?
All right, great question. I'm going to let Jeremy answer it, and I'll answer it. And thank you for calling. If you hang up and listen, we'll give you the answer, Ellen. Thank you very much. So appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Right,
thanks for listening to my other show, too, on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. All right, so Ellen's question was, are internet businesses, online businesses starting up faster than retail?
I'm not sure if they're starting up faster. I think that's obviously with internet, you can spin up a website for free in a lot of cases and have a business running. It's what you do with it after that. So we're seeing with technology, with the ability with the cloud and all the technology that you can have in the cloud and that's available to you, what we're seeing a lot of is telecommuters. So a business, maybe I've got my office here, for instance, and I've got an employee who lives and works out of Japan, American guy, but he lives and works in Japan. Telecommuter for me. With all the technology we have, you can be anywhere you want to be and access shared data, access the same phone system, access the same email, all that sort of thing. So I'd say if someone's starting up, since it's a startup show and we're talking about startups, it's so easy to start a business with a website. The fact is, what are you going to do with it from there?
Well, these companies that claim it's free, they're not really free. They'll build you like one or two pages. Then It's an a la carte. Okay, so then there's hosting, which is $25 a month, and then there's another page which is $25 a month, and then so
I think that's the best point right there. Yeah. My philosophy is, I don't want to do things cheap. I don't want people to give me cheap stuff, and I don't want to give somebody else cheap stuff. So if I'm going to display as much professionalism in what I have so that you can see, hey, I'm professional. I want you, I want to bring you along the same way.
Right. So I think opening another caller. Okay, just to finish off, I think opening an internet business for some people makes more sense than any other business you can open today. It is amazing literally billions and billions of dollars that people are buying. My wife's name is Ellen too, and now she's buying from Amazon. Every day there's a little box on the front door. So, all right, good question. We'll get into the internet as the weeks go along, but yes, I think it's a good idea to look at an internet business. All right, who's next on the call? Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. And your name, please?
Flip. From Canyon Country, California.
Okay, Canyon Country. I love it out there. So, Flip, thanks for listening to the show. We call Start a Biz on KHTS AM 1220. What's your question of Jeremy?
I got a great question for Jeremy. What's his take on employees? I don't know how many he has, but as you know, I've been in business for a long time, and that's my biggest headache, employees. And what's your take on that, Coach?
All right. Well, thank you. It's a great question. Thank you for listening to the show. I appreciate it. I want Jeremy's take, and I'll give you my take, Flip. Thanks for calling in. and we'll answer your question.
You know, my honest take on employees is I love employees, and then I have trouble with employees. We all do. So it's all personalities. You know, it's all personalities that we have to learn about each other. We have to train, and probably one of my biggest challenges, just to be quick in this, is historically hiring somebody and not giving them the opportunity to really succeed. Not by mentoring them, really.
Flip, it's a great question, and let me answer it this way. I'm not qualified to be a manager. I try to manage my own business. I was horrible at it. When my wife came into the company, she did an incredible job. Most people, I don't think, are cut out to manage. Supervising another human being is a really challenging task. So if you're going to open up a business, or you're listening to the show called Start a Biz, you've got to think twice. Sometimes getting an outside consultant or a mentor or somebody that has an expertise in working with people, you have to motivate your employees, Flip. You have to encourage your employees to do better, and you have to incentivize your employees. There has to be something in for the employer to want to be more productive. And I think that's the challenge that I have, that I want every employee to care like I do. I want every employee to put in the same kind of effort. I don't think it's realistic, but I'm not going to give up trying. So, all right, Flip, great question. All right, we have another caller. Okay. This is the show we call Start a Biz. I'm honored that you're calling. The number is 298-5487. And who's on the line? Who's on the line? Okay. All right, here at KHTS. So if you want to keep calling, we'll figure out the phone system here. I can see it ringing. All right, so back to, all right, caller, come on in, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Oh, good. I recognize this voice. Is this Sandy?
East Coast Sandy.
East Coast, long-time listener, my dear. I'm so honored that you'd listened to our first show. My God, you can listen online. I forgot to say you can listen online at hometownstation.com, and you can listen on one of the best apps in the country. It's KHTS 1220 AM. It's a great app. Thank you for listening. So you're going to ask me a question about computers. I can't answer it, but go ahead.
I'm of course, I'm a longtime follower and have loved your shows for years.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to call in on the first one.
Thank you. Honored.
And so will you have a computer guy there? Or?
Yeah. Jeremy Steppen.
Okay, I got a question, a really good one.
All right, go.
Shoot.
Hey, Jeremy.
How are you?
Well, I was really good until I heard that I got this Russian virus. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it crawls into your computer and it encrypts all your files, and then it holds them hostage pending you paying a ransom. I'm sure you've heard of it.
We have, yes.
It's CryptoLock or something like that, CryptoLock, but it goes under many names.
Yes, I have definitely heard. We've got a lot of experience with that one.
Okay, so my problem is that I've always been very careful because I run a business and I have several computers. And, I had my McAfee and my Norton. I had everything in place. And, of course, when this happened, I called McAfee and they sent me to India, on a wild goose chase. And basically, after hours and hours and hours on the phone, they said, well, this is a brand new one, and it just crawled right by us, and, we didn't see it. It just, flew by us in the night. And I was shocked. And, they said, well, you can pay the ransom. And I said, yeah, but then it goes up. It keeps going up, and, it starts out at, I guess, $500. And then if you don't reply, by a certain time, it goes up to $1,000. It keeps doubling and everything.
Whoa! Slow this down. Who's asking you to pay a ransom?
The guys that wrote the hack there.
You're kidding me.
The hackers do this. This is how they get their money now. It's crazy.
Very sophisticated, unfortunately. Yes.
So, am I right to be concerned with my security? Because I had to go out and buy a new computer because just so I can have something that is not so slow that I feel like I'm just at a snail's pace all day now. And they put all these weird files on your computer, so every time you open up a file, or even if you have backed up your files, it's attached to this weird message that tells you, with all the instructions, basically the ransom note.
Yep. So with that crypto locker, there's number one, you need to have a backup of your files. So we've
absolutely
and the best way to get rid of the crypto locker, you've got to delete all the files, clean that off, and then you got to restore from a backup.
You can't delete them. They are undeletable. I have tried. Plus, they put them all over your computer, so it's literally thousands. You would have to go in and delete.
But
thousands.
let me ask you both. How did you get it, Sandy? How did you get this Russian virus into your computer? You didn't have any protection?
No, she had protection, but usually they're email, websites. What was your method? Do you think where it came from?
Well, I can tell you exactly how I got it. It was one day this little window popped up and it said, would you like to allow Microsoft Corporation to make changes to your computer, your Windows program, or something like that? And I said, no. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I'm not clicking on that. I'm not clicking on it. And then, boom, I was so busy that day, it kept popping up, and I said, the heck with it. I just clicked on it. And it was the beginning of the end.
So something got downloaded from maybe a website you had visited or an email. This variation, one of the things you're kind of hinting to is in your discussion with McAfee is these guys are always a step ahead of McAfee, Norton, any of the antivirus protections. So you have to be a step ahead in your alertness. Everyone, we tell our clients, anytime a big virus hits, we'll send an email out and say, we're going to remind you right now, don't open any emails that you're not 100% certain of who they're from and what they are.
Some of this stuff is so. I mean, I'll get stuff from, looks like it's from Bank of America or Citibank, and I don't open anything, Jeremy. I mean, literally, unless I know you, I don't open anything. So,
That's the best policy.
Sandy, I'm sorry this happened to you. Do you have a solution for her?
Well, did you have a backup, Sandy, of your data?
Oh, yeah, I'm very careful to back up. But, of course, I work in PR, and so my itineraries change constantly. I would have to be backing up, every minute. So, I mean, I did lose a certain amount of files that, you have to be real careful and make sure you back up everything all the time and pretty much every day now, I guess.
For sure. All right, girl. Well, Thank you for calling in. I'm so honored from New York that you listened to our show. You can listen online at Hometown Station or on a great app. And spread the word. We're going to be having class every Thursday at 1 p.m. here on the West Coast, and then on the weekends on KHTS 1220 a.m. Sandy, have a great afternoon. Thanks for the call. We're going to take more callers now. Our number, if you want to keep calling, is 298-5487. So we've had some great calls. All right, who's up next? Hello, caller.
Hey, hello, Coach.
Yeah.
This is Cameron from Castaic. How are you today?
Castaic. I love Castaic. Cameron, are you listening to the show? You like it?
I like it. I got a question for Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Nobody wants to ask me any questions today. All right, go ahead.
After that last phone call, what antivirus software would you recommend? I see PC-Matic ads on the TV all the time. Would you recommend them?
You know what? We have gone through all sorts of different, from Symantec to Viper antivirus to McAfee. We've finalized right now on ESET antivirus. The problem really is that there's not, every one of them seems to have some different pieces that will catch different viruses earlier, but they don't all seem to have the complete package, So we're really happy with ESET at this point, and that's who we're going with at this point.
Well, that makes me feel better because that's what I use. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thanks for calling our first caller from Castaic. So, all right, so you're listening to the coach and Jeremy Steppen at KHTS on the show we call Start a Biz. Every Thursday, we're going to be talking about different subjects. Today, we're talking about computers because we're talking to the CEO of Adage IT, and we've had some great calls, some good questions. So that I'm a little scared, that Russian virus, if I get that I can't get wiped out. I'm serious. I can't lose my stuff. I've got 20 years of stuff.
Well, and that's the key with having a backup. right? So if you have a
Come on,
backup,
coach, you got a backup. Listen to
That's
your
right.
guest here. He's
That's
telling
right.
you.
No, he's back. He's got me. He's got my back. But I'm saying, if you're listening to this
file
show,
backup.
huh?
You got a file backup.
No, I know.
So if you don't have it, if you've got the file backup, yes, Sandy, she's in a bit of a hurt because she's got to reinstall her operating system and get everything set back up. That's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, her life is still there with all of her data.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to another Jeremy. Jeremy Chaffin owns a company called Telos. You ever heard of Telos? So I get asked all the time. This is not the financial part is not my strength. So somebody asked me just the other day, if you have $100,000, where would you put it, Coach? And I said, you know what? Truthfully, it's not my strength. So call Jeremy. He's been doing it for a long time at Telos. Let's look Telos up and ask for Jeremy. Tell me you heard him on the Coach's Show. Start a Biz. All right, so we talked about leverage. No, we didn't talk about leverage. We talked about timing. So timing in business and life is everything. There's a right time and a right place to do everything. There's a right time to listen. There's a right time to talk. There's also a right time to study and do your research. And I think this is my biggest challenge and angst when I'm working with companies is they won't take the time to do the research and discovery, to look behind the curtain. You've got to investigate. There's no excuse why you can't investigate. Like in your business, so you're saying ESET. How do you spell that?
Just how you did ESET.
Okay, so don't take my word for it. Don't take Jeremy's word for it. Go. We have another caller. Okay, all right. And then I want to talk about something. Let's make this our last caller. All right. Welcome to Start a Biz, caller. Go ahead. Well, we lost that caller. All right. So let me talk about leverage. I've read literally hundreds of books. Rarely is that word or that concept discovered. So what is leverage? If you don't have leverage when you're starting a business, you're going to have a tough time. So if you're listening to my voice and you're thinking about starting a business, take a deep breath and think about what I'm going to say now. Leverage is very important. So the first thing I would do is, as you said when we opened up the show, Jeremy, you said that you've got to get your CPA, your insurance agent, your attorney. But the other thing you have to do is think about leverage. Who's going to help you get launched? Who's going to help you get started? And who's going to help you grow your business? If you don't have an expertise in about 100 different subjects today, and one of them is computers, so let me put computers down. You need to, whether it's Adage IT or whoever you're going to go take a chance computer company, You've got to have just what that one caller, Sandy, talked about. Protect your computers first. I mean, really protect your computers first, because if you launch your business and you don't have the right protection and a month later you're down, your clients aren't going to like to hear the excuse, my computer's down. They won't. So add computer to what you're doing. Computer, CPA, insurance, attorney. But you know what you need, ladies and gentlemen? For leverage, you need a mentor. You need somebody that's been to the top of the mountain. And that's why I do the show. I'm a mentor. I coach businesses and individuals because I started, like you, Jeremy, with nothing. And I persevered. I didn't give up. There were many times I felt like I wanted to give up. There were many times where I thought this may not be worth it. But do you know why I'm in business? And I bet it's the same way you're in business. I wanted my freedom. I wanted to come and go and do as I please, but more importantly, I didn't want to have a boss. I didn't want somebody telling me how much I can make a day, a week, a month, or a year. Your comment on that, please?
Yeah, I think that's probably it's the grandiose vision of freedom, right? And if I'm my own boss, boy, my life's going to be beautiful.
Well, it's look, you coach high school kids in the afternoon. You get to leave. If you were working for some other company and you say, "Hey, boss, I'm leaving today at 3:30," I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you're able to pursue your hobby. You're able to give back to the community because you don't get paid any money for doing this. I don't think, do you?
No.
So leverage. Let me get back to leverage. So if you don't have leverage, you're going to have a difficult time. If you don't understand leverage, you're going to have a difficult time. you want to take a break. We'll come back. You want to take one caller before we go to break? We'll take one more caller, and we'll end the show once we figure out the phone system's not working again. All right. So let's take a break, Mr. Justin. We'll come back. We'll finish up with the show that we call Start a Biz. I guarantee you by next week we'll get the phone lines fixed up. We'll be right back. All right, so today we learned a little bit more about computers. I just learned about this Russian thing, which is now scaring the you-know-what out of me. So my partner today, Adage IT, the CEO, Jeremy Steppen. And I want to give a plug for my book, The Thinking Room. The Thinking Room, you can buy it on Amazon. I want to finish, I do One for the Road. So the One for the Road is about resistance and persistence. So you know about that being a coach. So resistance training in sports. So when you start your cross-country runners at Saugus, to get them up to the 10 miles or 15 miles, whatever, they don't start off at 15 miles. They may start off at 2 miles, then they go 3 miles. And then along the way, there's these checkpoints, right? You're checking times, you're checking their nutrition, you're checking everything. So when you're starting a business or you have a business and you come up against a challenge or a problem, don't quit. Call the coach or call Jeremy. If it's anything to do with computers, call him. If it's anything to do with business, call me. Don't quit, because here's how you're going to grow a life and grow a business. Endorse and embrace resistance. Am I right or wrong on this?
I agree.
And you do it in little tiny bite sizes for your high school kids, right?
Yeah, for the youth kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what happens is if you become persistent and you fight through this resistance thing, I go into a gym, you're in great shape. So if you start with a 5-pound weight, that's very comfortable. Then you go to 8 pounds, it's not as comfortable. 10 pounds, 15, now you're going, can I ever lift 20 pounds? The answer is yes. Can you ever achieve great success in your life? Yes. But you're going to have a lot of resistance along the way. And the magic, we're going to talk about the laws of success on one of the shows, not today, but there are laws of success that are not taught in school. You only learn them from guys like Jeremy and the coach. You only learn them in the school of hard knocks. Now, you can learn them by reading books. I read books. I encourage you. You want to change your life, start reading books. But I guarantee, like me, you were probably one of the most persistent people anybody knows. Am I right or wrong on this?
You might be right.
Yeah, you're very persistent. You don't give up. You find a way to succeed. Do you encourage your employees at Adage to do the same thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you do it? Do you know? Can you share with us?
Sure. I mean, we have challenges every day. I can think of one of my new guys was just out at a job the other day. He was going to a brand new client, and we anticipated him being out of there probably late morning, and then getting on to another client. Issues came up, so he was there. I think he was there until 3:30 or so. Then still had to go to the other client, and texted me around 7:30 at night saying, "Just finished up." That's the challenge of IT. It's unpredictable at times, and we have to persevere.
And business will be unpredictable. I mean, if you can say one thing about business, it is unpredictable, because we're not in charge of interest rates. We're not in charge of government regulations. We're not in charge of who's telling us what political correctness is. And if you own a business, a lot of times you have to figure it out by yourself. So I'm saying, call a timeout and get help. Getting help and growing your business is what I think is the smart way to go at every level, whether it's starting a business or a growing business or a mature business. There are experts out there in almost every field. You're an expert in computers, so obviously you've done well and you follow through on what you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the clients that you have. In the world of business, following through, following up, and you guys do that as well as any. That's why we moved over to Adage IT, because the company we were with did not follow up. I got a call this morning from Lewis following up on something we did yesterday. So every time I get a call from anybody, whether it's Adage IT or some company I'm doing business with, the fact that they follow up, that for me, when you follow up in business, that goes a long way. How about you?
Communication, we live and die by it. Absolutely.
but how you communicate. Just sometimes a phone call,
A phone
when
call,
you don't
a
want to
quick
make the
email.
phone-
Yeah. You'd rather suck it up and admit something's not right and work to fix it than hide behind a rock.
Be honest. Would you rather get a phone call or an email?
I would rather get a phone call.
Really? Rather get a phone call? All right, we're going to wrap up the show. He'll be back many times. Adage IT, Jeremy Steppen. The show is called Start a Biz on KHTS AM 1220. We'll see you this weekend. And don't forget, live next Thursday at 1 p.m.